everybody. So I know that everybody is anxiously waiting the update following my last blog. So here's basically what's been going on. I started the clinical trial and my numbers went down, and I had that great video where I was talking about the fact that I had some shrinkage and I was exhaling and I was crying and things were good. And of course, as soon as you have expectations, you're going to have disappointments, as my mummy always used to say. My numbers started to rise, and I had a CAT scan on Friday night, and on Monday morning I went to the hospital and I got my results, and of course it showed some minimal growth. So basically what's happened is from the beginning of the clinical trial to now, things have been relatively stable. And I ended around where I started. But what's more important is that in the last 6 weeks there's been an upward trajectory, and there's been growth, and the VID00577 has been climbing, which means there's more disease. And so even though from start to finish it's relatively stable, what we know is that right now my disease is growing, and it's just going to continue to grow. And my VID00577 is very reliable, and it's very accurate, and it always has been. And if it's going up, it's going up. So the trial drug stopped working. So I met with my doctor on Monday, and we discussed what to do moving forward. And of course, I'm not going to continue on the trial drug. Shocker, I know. I was surprised. I thought he was going to suggest chemo, but he actually wants to start a different clinical trial. So good and bad news. The good news is that the one component of the clinical trial has a PARP inhibitor. Not the AstraZeneca one that I had spoken about last year. It's the Abbott PARP inhibitor. But either way, the PARP inhibitor is the drug that has shown a lot of activity with BRCA mutation carriers, which I am one. I have BRCA1. So there's a lot of promise with that. And the way the trial works is I'll take an oral low-dose chemo called cyclophosphamide, and then half the people get the PARP and half the people don't. But if you're not responding on the chemo alone, they'll give you the PARP anyway. So essentially everybody ends up on the PARP, which is the drug that I really have been waiting for a while. The bad news is I have to wait 4 weeks before I can start the trial. So any trial, you have to have a clean system. You have to be clear of any drugs or anything for at least 4 weeks prior. So it means that I can't do anything for 4 weeks, anything. So while this is growing in my body, while this continues to inhabit my liver, my lungs, and who knows where else, I can't do anything else. I have to wait. So I have inhaled, and I am holding my breath, and I'm waiting for 4 weeks. In the intervening 4 weeks, we're going to be doing the blood work and another CAT scan and whatever screening needs to be done, so that when that date hits, I can start the clinical trial right away. And I have to hope that this pill works. You know, I guess, I hope it's not thinking that something so easy can't be true, that just taking a pill with minimal side effects can have the desired result. You know, if it feels too good to be true, it probably is. I hope that it's not, and I hope that this one is the one that works. But I guess that's what I was starting to feel about the last one, so I'm keeping my expectations low this time. It was a really, really devastating blow to me when I got the results that my numbers were going up. It was really hard to process it this time around, because the results had been so good, like so good. My numbers had dropped by half. They went from close to 1,500 to 700. Like, that's crazy. That's a crazy drop. And I really let my hopes get up there. And I think I'm going to be more guarded this time, because that drop was a really hard drop for me this time, and it took me a while to wrap my head around this one. And normally I just, close myself off for a couple of days and I process and I'm fine. But I had awareness to deal with and I couldn't close myself off, and I had stuff to deal with, and I was stressed and I was anxious and I was angry and I was sad and I was scared and I was fearful, and I was mad, and I couldn't take the time to process it. And so it was a little bit harder. So I think I'll probably be a little bit more guarded this time. But hopefully this one will work. And in the meantime, I will keep myself busy. I'm planning the 50th anniversary party for my daughter's school. So any parents from Bialik that are out there, if you haven't bought your tickets, buy your tickets. No guilt, I'm not saying anything, but buy your tickets. It's going to be a lot of fun. We have a lot of different things planned. There are a lot of moving parts to it, so it's keeping me busy. And that's good. So, at least for the next couple of weeks, that'll keep me preoccupied so that I'll only have 2 weeks to count until I get to start the treatment. So that's what's going on. And gonna hope for the best, gonna keep my fingers crossed. But I think I'm gonna keep my expectations in check. So I guess my mother's old saying has proven true. And maybe this time, if I don't have high expectations, I will be pleasantly surprised instead of disappointed. So let's hope for pleasant surprises for all of us. Everybody have a good night, and I'll speak to you soon.